A general investment account is a great place where you can invest in a whole range of different types of assets all under one account. If you've not got one, you could be missing out, but it's really important that you understand how they work, particularly the taxes, before you look at starting to use one. Hi, my name is Tom Morgan, a UK-based financial advisor and planner. Welcome to my channel, That Finance Show. In today's video, we are looking at a complete beginner's guide to general investment accounts, or GIAs for short. Here's what you will know by the time you've reached the end of this video, and because I know your time is important, here's your timestamps too. There are no limits to the amounts that you can invest inside a general investment account, so they'll take both small and large amounts that you might like to invest. You can also put in lump sums or regular investments, no problem. These accounts are subject to tax though, income tax, capital gains tax, and tax on dividends. However, it's not quite as bad as often people think, because we do have lots of allowances that we can use before we actually have to start paying these rates of tax. Firstly, any interest that you receive in your general investment account is subject to tax. However, as you can see here, there are lots of things at play before you actually have to start paying the tax, like personal allowance, starting rate for savings, and personal savings allowance. But in summary, as a basic rate taxpayer, you'll get £1,000 that you're allowed to receive in interest before you have to pay any income tax, maybe more depending on your earnings. A link to that government website I'll leave in the description. The same goes for dividends that you might receive in your general investment account. However, you are also allowed to receive £2,000 a year in dividend payments before you have to pay tax, and then the tax that you'll pay is in bands depending on your earnings. A link to that website I'll leave in the description too. And finally, you'll be liable to capital gains tax when you come to sell the investments from your general investment account if you've made a profit. Now, this is only triggered when you realise the gain, meaning when you actually sell the investments to take the profit. Once again, you have an allowance to use here of profit that you're allowed to make before you actually have to pay capital gains tax, and that currently stands at £12,300 a year. And then the amount of tax that you'll pay is in bands again, depending on your earnings. A link I'll leave in the description too. Because these general investment accounts are for investing, the value of your account will go up and down as your investments do, and you can lose money. You can invest in things like shares, bonds, and other things like commodities too. Because of this, it's a good idea to be going into these kinds of accounts with at least a 5-year time horizon in mind. And that's because the longer that you invest, the greater your chance of outperforming leaving your money in the bank. What returns you might get all depends on how your investments perform. And if we look at a calculator like this, for example, we can see some example figures. If you put in £100 per month every month for 20 years with a 5% per year return, your £24,000 could be worth approximately £40,000, not allowing for fees or taxes. Changing the rate of return makes a big difference to the end figure. Some of your investments might pay out an income to you in the form of either dividends or interest payments, and you usually have 3 options here. Option 1 is to reinvest the income. Simply put, buy more investments with the income that you've received. You can normally set up a regular automatic instruction with your provider. Option 2 is to have them paid to a nominated bank account. Have those income payments paid out to you as cash. Option 3, keep the income inside the GIA as cash and decide what to do with it later. There are costs involved with having a general investment account, and they will differ from one provider to another. Here's some examples of the kinds of costs you can expect to pay. An annual charge to your GIA provider, typically anywhere between 3 and 0.45% a year. An annual charge to a fund manager. If you invest in funds, they'll have their own charges that range from as little as 0.1%, and some funds can be as high as 2% a year, although that is rare nowadays. Some providers also charge a fee when you buy and sell investments, so be sure to get a full picture of all of your costs, as these do eat into your returns. These costs are usually taken from your investment portfolio and usually on a monthly basis. Although these should be seen as long-term investments, you can make withdrawals whenever you like, and most providers won't charge you for doing this. Remember though, you do need to sell your investments down to cash before you can get the money out, so it's not instant. Allow a week or 2 for most providers. There are lots of different providers offering general investment accounts, so here's some ideas on how you can start to compare. Costs. Are the overall costs competitive? Investment choice. How many different funds, shares, and other investment options do they offer? Do-it-yourself investments or managed for you? What are you looking for? Choosing the investments yourself, or a ready-built portfolio for you to simply select and for them to do the rest? And ease of use. How easy are they to deal with? Can you see your portfolio whenever you like with something like an app? And how good are they at supporting you when you need help? If you're brand new to investing, you should probably start by using a stocks and shares ISA wrapper, as they are more tax efficient than a general investment account. If you've maxed out the allowance there, that's when you can start to look at alternative wrappers like this, the general investment account, but do consider pensions too. The success or failure of a general investment account almost entirely comes down to what investments you choose to put inside it. And a lot of that decision comes back to risk. How much risk should you be taking? If you watch this video next, I'll go through exactly how you should think about risk and start to assess what level of risk is appropriate for you. Trust me, you do not want to be taking the wrong level of risk, so go and watch this video now. I've been Tom Morgan, thanks for watching That Finance Show. Please subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you on another video soon.